Hey everyone, welcome to Be Our Guest. I'm Dev Janki. I am the artistic director of Live and in Color, and we're so excited to have you with us this evening. For those of you who don't know, Live and in Color is a not-for-profit theater company that's based both in Connecticut and New York. Our mission is to develop brand new plays and musicals that promote and celebrate diversity. We're super proud of our work. You can find out way more about us on our website at theaterincolor.org. We are going into our 6th season. And unfortunately, as with many arts organizations around the world, we have had to postpone our in-person events and all our fundraisers. So instead, we're super excited to present a variety of virtual programs, starting with this virtual happy hour. So grab a cocktail, and if you have any questions for our special guest, please write them in the comments. And if you have friends that might want to ask questions, please share the link to our live stream on your Facebook page right now. And since this is a happy hour, I do need a little cocktail of my own. And this lovely little libation was hand-delivered earlier today by my good friend Hansel Tan. And Hansel is an amazing actor and also Live and in Color alum. He was in our first show, Call It Courage. And he is also the founder of Quarantine Cocktails, or QCox. This is an amazing group. QCox is an actor-run cocktail cooperative. And if you live in Manhattan, Brooklyn, or Queens, they will deliver the best of modern mixology right to your doorstep at affordable prices. And they created this special cocktail aptly named Unapologetically Asian in honor of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I'm going to take a little sip. Deliciousness. I taste a little soju, sake, citrus, green tea. We're going to list the ingredients so you can see the magic that Hansel creates. In fact, this drink was created in partnership with the Unapologetically Asian campaign. This incredible group, their goal is to inspire and empower all generations of Asian and Asian Americans to live with pride in who they are unapologetically. I'm so in love with the work they do. In fact, if you're free this Saturday, May 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, join QCox and Unapologetically Asian as they toast the wind down of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month with a boozy Broadway kiki. And speaking of boozy and Broadway, it's time to bring in our special guest. He is the only actor to ever win every single award for one role, the Tony, the Drama Desk, the Outer Critics Circle Award, and all the others for his brilliant performance in M. Butterfly. You know him from films and television, Mr. Robot, which he was Emmy nominated for, Law and Order SVU, and of course the hilarious Aquafina is Nora from Queens. Please welcome the incomparable BD Wong.
Yay, this is working.
It's working. Technology works, right? Cheers.
Cheers.
How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I am, you know, I mean, I during this whole time, I'm always kind of qualifying the fact that I'm doing all right because I know that a lot of people are challenged and there's a lot of people working really hard and I'm kind of not. So I feel a little guilty about that, but I also, it's a very good kind of cleansing time actually for me to recalibrate a lot of things, you know. I have a lot of free time.
What have you been doing with that free time? What have you been?
I have been, well, my husband and I have been, well, luckily I live with somebody who I get along with very well. And so we're really enjoying the time together that we have. And we're just starting to kind of be creative together, which is really great. He's a video maker and a video editor and has a movement background. And so we're kind of getting into the idea of working together in our house, making videos and things, and I really like that. And I've been knitting a lot,
Oh
which I
yeah.
knit since I was 5 years old, and I put it, I come in and out of it in my life. I pick it up again and put it down again. But during this time, I have been really doing it again, and I've been
What kind of
cooking a
stuff?
lot.
What kind of stuff have you been making?
Oh, all kinds of crazy things, like making a necktie.
Oh.
Necktie right here. See?
Oh. Wow, that's some
See?
detailed knitting.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's very meditative, and it's really I feel like it's a nice way to spend the time. It's kind of a way to kind of, you can think about things at the same time while focusing on something else. It's very rare kind of activity in that way.
Absolutely.
And we've been watching a lot of television
Hmm.
and watching a lot of uh, widely varying programs.
Well, thank you for being here. It
Oh,
really,
great! Thanks.
I'm a friend, but also a huge fan, and everyone knows you from your incredible career, um,
Wow. Thanks.
and you're an inspiration to so many, including me. And I was honored to recently get to see you in your latest stage performance in The Great Leap, Lauren's play, which was just
Oh,
astonishing performance. And I know you got to go to the West Coast and do it, and then direct a production. So,
yes.
what was it like getting to do all facets of that and revisit something multiple times?
Well, I mean, first of all, I could only do it if I really loved the play and I really enjoyed the experience of doing it as an actor, and then having done it a second time, if I felt like I kind of played it out. Like as an actor, I think I did a tiny production and then a very gigantic production, and between those two things, I felt like, wow, that was a full experience. So when the nice people at Pasadena Playhouse asked me to direct it there, I was kind of really, my mind started being really creative about how I would do that, and I went into a whole other mode of thought on that show, and I could kind of create the environment for that production that I would do on my own, and that was really a very satisfying thing. I really wanted to direct and be writing and directing more now, and so this was a really good opportunity for me, and it was really well received, and so it was extremely positive. I like the play. I love Lauren, and the play really works for me. I like it, and the audience. It's a real crowd pleaser of a play. So it was all positive. And I was in San Francisco the second time I did the play, which is my hometown. So there were a lot of really great things coming together for me on that.
That's wonderful. A lot of people, as I said, know you as an actor, but you are an accomplished director and writer. And I really wanted to talk to you about your brand new musical that's in development, the stage adaptation of Mr. Holland's Opus, which I was fortunate enough to see a couple readings of that you've written with your writing partner, Wayne Barker.
Yeah.
I'm a desk winner from Peter and the Starcatchers. What's going on? Tell us about that.
Well, we started. I've always loved. He's a really good friend. He's probably the person I'm closest to. The friend that I am closest to, like really one of my best friends. And I've always really admired his creativity as a composer and as a musician. And I've always really secretly kind of vowed to get him to write with me. I just always thought, I just really think he would be someone that would create incredible music that's really unique and very satisfying to listen to. And so I got him to do that over the last few years, and then in 2017 we went after and got the rights to adapt Mr. Holland's Opus, which was a movie from my young adulthood, and a movie that I kind of really responded to emotionally and thought would manifest itself really in a really cool way on stage. And so we started writing it, and we got a theater interested in it, and we came this close, skiddingly close to our first production in this August, right?
Yeah.
And of course, that the theater had to cancel its entire season. But really, we're continuing to work on the show, and the show has had up 3 good solid years of development at this point. So we're pretty far down the road of a development where we really feel that there's a show and we really can feel the audience responding to it. So by the time we do get to that first production, which hopefully will be at Ogunquit Playhouse in Maine, hopefully next year, because it was scheduled to do this year, then we'll be really ready for it. I mean, we'll be really kind of looking forward to kind of making our debut with that show opening, and that's very exciting. We really love working on it, and it's been really good to us.
I think it's such a beautiful story, and I think coming out of this, I think it will be much needed, this kind of
Yes,
sense of community and about mentorship. Talk a little
mentorship.
bit about your in with the musical that's different.
Well, I remember leaving the movie theater and going right to a payphone and calling my 9th grade humanities teacher and crying, and I was saying, I'm you know, just, and he has no idea why I'm calling him, but I called him because he was the person that I remembered. You know, we all have 1 or 2 if we're lucky, 3 if we're really really lucky, you know, teachers who made a real impact on our development and on our lives. And I called him to say thank you, and I saw this movie that reminded me of you. And he was just great. You know, he was a very eccentric, very hands-on, dramatic, creative and imaginative and really charismatic teacher. And then I had many other teachers, luckily enough. I had a really intense relationship with my high school drama teacher, who really showed me, and she really forced me to kind of take hold of my own potential in some ways. And I'm always grateful to her for that. And so I feel, as a recipient of certain episodes of positive mentorship, that a musical that celebrates teaching and celebrates teachers and also describes the challenges of being a teacher is would be welcome, and that people would really like that, especially like this very second, when we really realize how much we rely on our teachers to look after our kids and to guide them and shape them in tandem with our parenting. And we realize how you know, I don't know, you know what I mean. It's like really a really tricky time right now, and teachers are really dealing with a lot of really challenging things. So that is just an extension of the normal challenges they already face in the day-to-day lives, and anything that I think appreciates teachers, because teachers kind of get a kind of there are things that happen in the world where, like, teachers contests and teachers of the year and all that, where you get in a moment to show a teacher's real power and all of that stuff, and there isn't as much of an everyday sensibility for how great teachers are that I think we could always use.
Absolutely. And you know, it's a great segue, because you know the whole theme of mentorship and teaching. I mean, you now are that. You are a mentor. You are a teacher. You've taught for me in various places, and specifically this show, you have a lot of young people that you're working with, right?
Yeah,
yeah. Featuring. What's that experience like?
Well, and we also workshop the show in a very big way with a big group of community theater actors and young musicians in North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina. Another manifestation of the show, a huge concert of the show, which included kids from the public school system playing musical instruments and acting, and kids from all different schools coming together, was also what also had to be postponed. But be that as it may, our experience of mentoring these kids mirrored the show in this really wonderful way, in a way that for me was gave me a perspective as a writer to say, oh, well, you know, I when you see, you know, it's really great. You and I know a lot of the same actors, and in New York, you do a workshop of things. You almost always opt for casting adult people to play teenagers, because it's much more practical, especially in a reading situation, right? So you get used to the professionality and the solidness and the skills of 20-something actors playing high school kids. When you actually go to a high school and you see what a high school kid is actually really like, it really gives you great insight into how to write for that kind of character, and to understand how you can guide the older actors to play those parts even more successfully than they already do. And that's really great. That was a really surprising and wonderful part of doing the workshops in Wilmington, is that we had that fresh insight. But I don't even know if I actually answered the question that you asked. But it was a really good part of this. It has been and will continue to be a really good part of the process of writing the show, because we learned so much from working closely with, and we don't work with them just as a writing team. We really kind of get in there and work with them and try to if there are any challenges they have as performers, we really like to kind of unpack them and work with them and and to give us all an experience that's as rich as possible by really really meeting everything head on. It's really easy to just stage a reading and say, okay, you say this, you say that, you go to this music stand and you do this, and just kind of throw it together. But we don't really, we always spent more time and more energy kind of really getting to know the actors in a way that's really helpful to both parties, really.
We talk, our mission at Live and in Color is all about diversity and creating community and creating a diverse, inclusive work environment. And, Mr. Holland's Opens definitely is an example of that. Can you talk a little bit about what that means to you in terms of creating that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, it can't be stressed enough that I find it's a huge driving part of my life. It's always been a big driving, motivating part of my career. At some point, I realized that things were not going to be as easy as I might dream they would be. And therefore, the only way out of that was to try to be somehow a part of any change that would happen. And not even really in any kind of high-minded or activist kind of way, just as a survival. Like, well, if you want to work, then you have to do something about the fact that it's not acceptable. And that seems really practical to me. It's like it's even self-centered, actually, if you really think about it. It's like I want to work. I want to, and I don't, if I look at the list of things that are being provided for me as available to me, that list is not acceptable.
Yeah.
So I don't like that list. I need these things over here or these things up here. I want those things. How do I get those things? Well, I can't just wait for someone to give them to me. That's clearly, you don't need to be in the business for 15 minutes to figure out that that's not really going to happen. So whatever you can do to create that situation where the change becomes a part of your energy, one, is logical, and two, creates a much more satisfaction for you as when you have any other level of success. You just go, oh wow, okay, so I did play a role. Those three people that are in the Kiki on Saturday, those three people are in it to win it, and they know the issues at stake. They know how to articulate them. They're activists in their own way.
Yeah.
Francis, Courtney, and Telly is who I'm talking about. And so Asian American actors, pound for pound, there are more people like that than non-Asian actors that are really kind of figuring out that they have to kind of speak up and figure out where they fit and how to shoehorn themselves into it if necessary.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So I think we should take a few questions from our audience, see what people have to say. Let's see what comes up. Alyssa says, do you remember the first time you saw a story that really represented you? Thank you.
Wow. Well, there's lots of different ways of being represented, of course, Alyssa, thank you. And so, well, here's my example, and it's not necessarily exactly the answer to the question, but I was a huge fan of A Chorus Line when I was a teenager. That was the one pivotal moment in my theater going experience, because I always loved musicals. I went to all the musicals. I was a subscriber to all the musicals that came into town in San Francisco, all the touring companies and stuff like that. And Chorus Line came, I already knew about what Chorus Line was before it came. It had that much of an impact on the theater, and it was a national news story.
Yeah.
Chorus Line in some really weird way, and I knew about it, and when I saw the show, there were two kind of conflicting aspects of it. There was a gay character and there was an Asian character, and they were both kind of okay for the time period of representation. In other words, the gay character was a revolutionary gay character that comes out on stage in a really wonderful moment on stage, and especially in 1975, it was rather groundbreaking and extremely moving. And then there was this cute Asian American character who straddled the negotiated her way through stereotyping in a very in a fresh way. It wasn't what we would call the most progressive thing, but it was also, look, there's an Asian girl on stage and she's got her own part, and she's not, she's discussing the issues that are at hand, which is, how do I fit into this business as an Asian American person? So between those two characters, I found something that I could relate to. I didn't really relate to the gay character. He had such a tragic story, but I did relate to this fear that he felt and the acceptance from his parents that was important to him. And so those two characters I related to. Well, to make a long story short, it was less than 10 years later that the premier Asian American theater in the country, which is called East West Players in Los Angeles, did a Chorus Line. And I was living in LA at the time, and I went to audition for that show, and I got in. And the validation that I felt on that moment on stage, when the lights came up and I was in Chorus Line, and everything that meant to me as a performer, really, not as an Asian American or as a gay person, but even just as an actor, as an aspiring actor who felt as an Asian American Asian American man, that I would never be in Chorus Line. There I was with 8 or 10 other guys that were Asian American and in Chorus Line. And I thought, wow, this is really validating. And the rush of validation that I felt was extremely life-changing to me, and really sold me on the entire concept of East West Players and everything that they do there, as well as the other wonderful Asian American theaters in this country, that the work that they're doing, which is often not seen by lots of people, is absolutely vital to young actors, and their training and their learning the ropes of being in the theater, as well as expression for writer. Everything that it does, and everything that you guys are doing, for example, too, is absolutely vital to the experience. And part of that is self-esteem. And the self-esteem component was huge for me. I mean, I had pretty good self-esteem. That was part of my problem, actually. I was, kind of like super confident. But I was also wounded in a way that just enough for that particular that particular experience to really be memorable and really have created a sense of empowerment.
Definitely. I mean, I think Chorus Line for a lot of people of our generation was really that moment, because there wasn't anything else. I felt like you were speaking for me, because I had the exact same reaction.
Yes. Okay. I mean, I could probably have guessed that you would.
Yeah.
It's just pretty. It's a pretty simple equation, actually. But there was something very special about that show, and even to the point where, as with many things, you look back on it and you go, "Oh wow, it is what it is." It's not like it is of the moment of its time. But the elements were actually, I remember what was powerful about them, and that memory of that of the artistry of that show is very powerful still, no matter what, no matter how clunky X aspect of that show is or was.
Absolutely. Let's do one more question. Jacob Hoffman says, this is a marvelous exchange of words in these complicated times. Are there any artists, playwrights that you find yourself drawn to?
Thank you, Jacob. Hello. And marvelous exchange of words. Wow, I like that. Okay. So, well, I felt really, two people come to mind that are not going to be, there may not be so necessarily that they might be surprising. Well, first of all, the first person that comes to mind is Lauren Yee, because I did the Lauren Yee play 3 times, and the experience of doing that play was I really enjoyed the process of collaborating with her with different hats on,
Mm-hmm.
and the outcome of that, and to witness the audience's great delight in her writing. I just think that's heartwarming. It's like they really got her. She really knows how to entertain and stimulate and not sell out on her identity as an Asian American. So that's really wonderful to me, and I really like that. And then the other person is one of my best friends also, is Cindy Chung,
Mm-hmm.
who is an actor that I will never tire of.
One of the
Ever.
funniest.
You don't know her, possibly. She's the one person in my life that I saw on stage in a very kind of proprietary, predatory way. I said, I need to be friends with that person, and I will do whatever it takes to become friends with them. And I was luckily accepted. You know, my stalkerishness was not rejected, and so I enjoy a relationship with her. But as a writer, she's a bit of a muse for me. I've written her a part in Mr. Holland's Opus. I pray that she'll be able to go down the road with me playing this part, as my friend and collaborator. You never know with these things. And I just love her. So she's another person. Wayne Barker, who I already mentioned, is my collaborator, and I get so much stimulation from his intellectual discussion of the work, and the way that we kind of see eye to eye on a lot of basic theatrical principles. Those are the 3 people that I can think of off the top of my head.
Wow, all wonderful people, and your collaboration with Wayne is just so exciting. I can't wait for people to see the show. Since it's a happy hour, I think we should take a little drink. And but it's just 2 of us, and I feel like we need a threesome. So who possibly could be our third? Oh, who is that?
Karen.
It's Anastasia Barzee from Broadway, Saigon, and Jekyll and Hyde, and Urinetown. Hello.
You're in town. You're in town.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm still recovering from not being mentioned in that last group of artists, but I'm okay.
Cut for time, dear. Cut for time.
I want to know how you guys have first met.
Oh gosh.
Go ahead, BD.
Not really. I mean, it was really. I have the pictures that I have of us from this time period tell the whole story, because they're really like full of joy, and really we had a really good time. And that we did Pippin together at Bay Street Theater in Sag Harbor in 2008, I think. And just to make a long story short, the music director John McDaniel said, because I didn't know her, I only knew of her. He said, "Don't worry, you're gonna love her. This is gonna be a really good thing." And there has been a couple of times in my life when someone has said that to me, and it was actually true, because people either, I don't know, just they know me too well or something like that. But we really got along instantly very well, and we hated all the same things about that production, and loved all the same things about that.
It was a condensed version, right?
It was a 9 people per person Pippin.
So we had to do everything. So even though I was Catherine and shouldn't have entered until the second act, I was in it from the top.
Yeah.
Which is, I think,
in a Playboy bunny costume at one point.
I had to wear a bunny costume. Yes, I had to dance Fosse.
Yeah, Fosse.
Well, we could sit and kiki all night. We've actually run out of time, which is so sad. Thank you for
cut for time.
Before we finish, I just need to do a little business. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. Just a few things to wrap up. Live and in Color is hosting a 24-hour play and song festival this weekend over Zoom. We will be randomly grouping together playwrights, composers, actors, and directors, and they will form new songs and scenes in just 24 hours. You can reserve a free ticket on our website to watch the final results live on Zoom this Sunday, May 31st at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also be sure to tune in to be our guest next week, next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be talking to actress and transgender activist and singer Anish Seth. I'm so excited to have her on the show. And lastly, this is a crazy time for everyone in the arts, so please consider making a donation to your small arts organization. They so need your help. And if you feel like making a donation to us at Live and in Color, you can follow us at the link, theaterincolor.org. Anastasia, BD, thank you for being here. And before we go, would one of you close us out with a little toast to whatever you feel like?
Well, Karen, would you like to make a toast?
Do you want to toast Larry Kramer?
Yes.
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 So Larry Kramer, amazing playwright, groundbreaking, historic.
Really.
Yeah.
It does not get better than him, man. That was just a magnificent human being.
Yeah. So.
To Mr. Kramer.
And to all of you out there, thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
The mornings run together. Seems like one long day. You're going through the motions. What does it matter? Does it matter anyway? Wishing things were different. When the world is cold and gray, it's the same old song that's playing, with the same old things to say. Someone should mix things up. Someone should take a chance. Someone should sing a new number. Someone should dance a new dance and change the story. Come on and change the scene. Choose the beginning, the ending in between. It's time to change the story. It's time to change the tune. See how the future looks bright. Change on the horizon. Coming soon. And suddenly you're not lonely, burned out from 9 to 5. Suddenly you have purpose, you feel alive. Here everyone is welcome. Come in love and dignity. 'Cause when we come together, that's when we're truly free. Come on and mix things up. Come on and take a chance. Come on and sing a new number. Come on and dance. Let's change the story. Come on and change the scene. Change the